Hello, everyone, and welcome to the I Am Love Builders show. We're so happy that you tuned in with us today. We'd like to give a great big shout out to all of our broadcast partners. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in. I Am Love Builders is a show that's dedicated to all things dealing with relationships and communication. Our heart's desire is that you will have a relationship that is strong and
Yes.
healthy by becoming an MVP, a most valuable partner in your relationship.
Amen.
We want you to know that we are here to help you strengthen, to grow, to learn, to fine tune your relationship.
Yes.
Because we firmly believe that if you're not having fun, you're not
You're not
doing
doing
it
it
right.
right. No doubt about that. Hey, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors. And we are having a premiere here in a couple weeks
Yay!
of our TV show, Winning
Mhm,
with Love.
mhm.
So we taped it a couple months ago, and the premiere is on the 21st of November. Now, anyone listening to this broadcast, if you listen to it before the 21st, you are
Welcome.
invited and
Yes.
welcome to join us. You can join us online, or if you're in the Denver, Colorado area, you can join us in person. It's going to be a great event. We are planning a red carpet. We're planning a photo shoot. We're planning a lot of things. Some folks are flying in from Dallas. So it's going to be a great time. You can scan that QR code to get more information, or you can go to iamlovebuilders.com/TV to RSVP ASAP.
Yes.
All right. We have two micro networks on Zondra TV network that we are registering content providers for. So you can check those out. We have a lot of media services that we provide through Zondra TV. So we can do TV ads for you, pay-per-view platforms, you name it. So check into that. We have a free Facebook group called Most Valuable Podcast Network, where we are doing 15-minute interviews for anyone that has a podcast to help them get more exposure for their podcast. So you can join that Facebook group. Just do a search for Most Valuable Podcast Network on Facebook. We are doing free calls every 2 weeks and making them available to all of our MVP members. And these are free now. So this is a little bit of a change because we were doing a short training and then we go into the partner training, but we are now making these trainings available to everyone. So check that out. And we have a premium MVP product that we launched. This is really an exclusive product for the right type of individual or couple, I should say. These are high income earning couples that are looking for a little bit more hands-on treatment, gourmet meals, exotic locations, things like that. So that's a pretty cool product. And then we have MVP Lite. This is for anyone and everyone, free access. And you can get access right now by going to iamlovebuilders.com and clicking on the green button right on the front page. It'll take you to the app so you can sign up and get access today. All right. So this topic we're going to talk about, I tagged it or labeled it the art of problem solving.
Yes.
And talk about problem solving. I had to solve a problem real quick because our primary place to do a podcast was down. I went to turn on the computer and it was dead. Like no power. No power. So this is our secondary location, but it works.
It does work.
So we are going to.
Do you think we need more light though?
We'll have to get more light, but right now that's the best we can do.
Okay.
For the time frame. All right. So we're going to talk about problem solving, but before we even get into that, I wanted to touch base a little bit more about this new app.
Okay.
Because
yes, we have an app. There's an app for us.
There's an app for that. So if you're single or married, you now can get access to this app for free. You can start to access all of our trainings. Well, not all of our trainings, but most of our trainings for free. You're going to get access to our bi-weekly trainings for free and a lot of other cool things that are on this app. So like I said earlier, if you go to iamlovebuilders.com and click on the green button, you're going to go to a sign-up page. So if you haven't ever logged into Passion.io, this is the app is through Passion.io. then you're going to need to register.
Yes.
And it's a quick process. It takes 2 minutes to register, and then you're in. And once you're in, you'll see the steps right there for the MVP Lite, and those training videos and information, our ebook, the love assessment, all that is available right now on the app
for you.
We're adding stuff every day. I'm just building out a lot of it, but the initial free part is there and available, so you can get access to it today and start to benefit from that. And this is a great way for you to get started. We've had a lot of single people come up to us and say, well, when are you going to do something for the singles?
Yes.
Well, we did something for the singles.
We did. And it's called, is it built out yet?
Yeah.
MVP Solo.
MVP Solo is for the singles specifically, but that is a product they'd have to pay for.
Okay.
But you can still, singles, you can get started by going into the MVP Lite.
Okay.
Because within the Lite
platform,
the 7 keys to a healthy relationship
are there.
Okay. And the ebook.
The ebook
is there.
And the first 5 chapters of the ebook are actually donated. Not say donated, but dedicated for those who are not currently married at this time.
Right.
And maybe you're not willing or not wanting to be married right now, but maybe it's in your future. Maybe you just got through a divorce or a very unpleasant relationship.
Yeah.
This will help you to fine tune, give you some tools, some skills, help you to be more open and aware to the red flags,
right.
So that in your next relationship, it will be healthier. It will be may lead to marriage if that's what you want.
It's possible.
It is possible.
It's possible, but I know for a fact that this training that we've done over the years, that's available for free on the app, will definitely start you on the right path and get you going and get you connected with the 7 keys to a healthy relationship, and then the 7 keys to divorce-proofing your marriage. All those are available to our MVP Lite members. So that is super exciting.
Very exciting. So you need to tune in, check it out.
Yeah.
We're excited the fact that we have an app. Yay, we got an app.
There's an app for that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So anytime we're talking to someone, or even time you guys are talking to someone, you can say, you know what, Love Builders, they have an app for that.
Yes.
Right?
Check out the app.
Relationship or marriages, we got you covered. So we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to get into this topic of the art of problem solving, because it's important. It's important for us to be able to problem solve in our relationships. So we're going to take a quick break, and if you're watching online, it's just going to be a couple of seconds, 10 seconds, I think. And when we come back, we're going to get into the art of problem solving. We'll be right back in just a moment. That's the wrong one. We don't want to do that one. We want to do, where is it? Just talk amongst yourselves while I'm figuring this out. All right. Let's see. Let me do this one. All right, we are back with I Am Love Builder Show, Casper and Cheryl, and we are going to dive into our topic for today, which is the art of problem solving.
And this is in our book, Divorce Proofing Your Marriage, on chapter 21, page 117.
Yeah. And by the way, did I mention you can get a copy of the book? Oh, actually, you can't get 21 for free, but you can get the ebook for free. Sorry.
Yes.
Never mind. Scratch it. Go ahead.
All right. So, as much as we would like to avoid them, that's problems.
Right.
They're unavoidable.
Yes, they are.
We do have problems. We have situations, challenges, circumstances that come up in life in general, specifically in our relationships, our marriages.
Yeah.
And so we need to know what to do, how to do it, to problem solve, because Just shoving it in the closet and pretending it's not there,
Right.
hiding it under the rug, or ignoring it is not the answer.
No, and that's what we do, right? We
Mhm.
get into a discussion, or it turns into an argument, and it's over something might be something small,
Mm-hmm.
but it escalates into something huge,
Right.
and then we just fight, and then we separate. So, oh, fine, and, we go to each other separate rooms or whatever, and we never deal with that issue.
Right. And then the next time something comes up, we pull that issue out.
Mm-hmm.
And this over time could lead to such anger and bitterness and hurt and disappointment.
Yeah.
The next thing you know, we're talking about, I want a divorce.
Right. Right.
And we're not for that. I mean, there is a solution. Divorce does not always have to be the decision or the first choice.
Right. Should never be. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And, I wanted to show this image because what we're talking about are these things. These are the big 10 issues.
Mm.
But really what's going on are the things underneath those issues.
Right.
The surface issues are money, jealousy, communication, religion, sex, children, friends, careers, recreation, alcohol, and drugs. Those are kind of like the issues. Mm-hmm. But if you dig down, and you need to dig down to do problem solving, you got to know what problem you're solving.
Well, yeah, because there's a root cause for all of those, the issues that we see, the manifestations that we see.
Yeah.
There's a root. There's a root cause for those.
Right.
And it's like even in gardening, a lot of people don't like dandelions. I know that's not you.
I love dandelions.
You love dandelions. But if you pull a dandelion up, it'll snap off at the top, but the root is still there.
Yeah.
So in a couple of weeks, that dandelion will resprout all over again.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much with any plant. Unless you pull it up at the root, just pulling it up at the surface or just cutting it at the surface level will not stop that plant from growing because the root is still there. And it's the same way with problems and issues and challenges. If we don't get to the root, just because we cut it off at the surface or we mask it or we ignore it and pretend like it's not there, it's still there.
Yeah.
And it will just continue to manifest.
Yeah, it will. So you definitely need to figure out what that problem is, get to the root of that issue, get to the hidden issue, and that's where we're going to work on problem solving, right?
Right.
This is part of the problem discussion phase of identifying what the problem is.
Yes. So the first step is problem discussion.
Yeah.
Now, I know some people are very good at discussing things and they discuss fairly. But we have others who don't do it so well, which is why we have the communication tool.
Right. Oh, you mean this tool right here?
Yes, that tool right there.
Yes.
To help you maneuver through challenges so that you can communicate. Because face it, we all communicate differently. We communicate differently cultural-wise. And we've given examples of one of our past facilitators who we used to work with said she never understood when it was the husband, when he would go to the wife's family events. They were very loud, very demonstrative, and to him, it sounded like they were yelling at each other.
Right.
It sounded like they were angry, but that's how they communicated. Where he come from a family where it was very calm, very analytical, and they didn't raise their voices. So it took him a while to adjust to the fact that when he would go with her family, and they were very demonstrative and they were yelling and talking, but then they would be laughing and it sounded like they were fussing at each other, but actually they weren't. It took him a while to get used to that, but it's because people communicate differently, and that could be the case in your relationship.
Yeah, it could be the case. So you have to just almost have a come to Jesus moment to where you are understanding there could be some differences in the way you guys communicate. So now you have to know that so you can have these discussions. And this may be tough in the beginning because you were used to fighting about whatever it is. and not talk, not to your point, not coming at that problem in the same way, right? One person wants to be very demonstrative, the other one wants to be very analytical or whatever. So you've got to figure all that out. And actually, we have a love assessment tool so you can figure out what type of love personality your spouse has, which is super important. You also want to know the love language of your spouse,
right?
Because if you're going against the love language, it's going to be harder to communicate to your spouse if you're not speaking the right language.
Yes, because if you're giving them your love language and they're not understanding what you're saying, that could be why. It's not their language.
It could be why. Exactly why. So problem discussion is the first step. You have to talk these things out.
Yes.
Right. I know also in our workbook that we used to use
when we were a part of another organization, a lot of this information came from PrEP, which was an organization we were a part of. And so good information, it doesn't die. So we still feel the need to share it so that your relationship can be healthy.
Yeah. Well, actually, I got ahead of myself, so we're not there yet.
We're not there yet?
No,
okay, well, where are we?
We're getting there. So
we're getting there.
Yeah, so step 2 is agenda setting.
Okay.
So you want to set the agenda for getting these problems solved. And you're going to have to take some time to just, relax and breathe and just say, okay, we're going to work through this.
Yes.
Calmly and peacefully, we're going to work through this. Because here's what's exciting, folks. Once you get to the other side of this and you don't have those issues anymore, now you can start growing and start doing a lot more.
You can move on.
Right? But until you get these things worked out and worked through, you can't move on. And that's what's holding a lot of couples back from just achieving all kinds of awesome stuff.
Yeah. So step 1 is you need to discuss it. So you need to set aside some quiet time where you're calm and you have the time,
right?
And you need to discuss and identify what the issue is. And then after you do that, once you understand what the problem is, we need to determine what we're trying to solve right now.
Right.
Which basically means pick one.
All right. We're going to pick one and we're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back with the art of problem solving here in just a few seconds. All right, we're back at IAM Love Builder Show, Casper and Cheryl, and we're going through the steps on problem solving. By the time we're done with this show, you will be experts when it comes to problem solving, especially if you get our book, Divorce Proofing Your Marriage, because everything we're covering is actually in the book. Right? Now,
it may be a little difficult at first if it's because this may not be a part of your repertoire. This is not something you've done in the past.
Right.
Maybe in the past you just yelled and screamed and shouted, or you just decided, I'm not talking to you.
Right. Right.
So this may be a little different and it may seem awkward at first, but it is a good way to help you get through those issues. So before the break, we determined that what we needed to do was choose one issue.
Right.
One. And stick with the one. Don't go off on all these different tributaries and adding in other stuff. And no, one.
Pick one. Yeah.
Pick one.
So we're talking about agenda setting. Pick a very specific piece of the issue you are working on to try to solve right now. So you just, it's like this elephant, right? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So one issue at a time. Work through that issue, and then you go to the next issue. And start with the small ones, so you have some sense of accomplishment, right? Start with the laundry or whatever, some issue, whatever it is. Work on that, figure that out, and then go back and then apply these principles to the next issue. Okay. And work on that, right? And stay focused on the solution or the ideas. Stay focused on those, so you don't get sidetracked.
And it works very well when both of you are intentional.
Yeah.
On having this worked out, so you don't have to keep repeating it over and over again. So this agenda setting, you need to establish what the goal of our discussion is and what we hope to achieve by the end of it.
Right.
So you might even want to set a day. You might say, okay, Saturday from 3 to 4,
Yeah.
we're going to talk about this one issue and we're going to get it worked out.
Yeah.
And by 4 o'clock, we will have it worked out.
So think about think about how blessed you will be once you start working through these issues.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know,
Don't always have them hovering over
right.
or hanging out in the background.
Right. I know with in our marriage and stuff, the issues that we've had over the years have dwindled down so low now that we can focus on the bigger picture, the bigger things.
Mm-hmm.
And every once in a while, something will come up. We deal with it, so it's not going in a corner.
Right.
And we don't linger on it, you know, or what's it called, languish or whatever.
Yeah,
on
it just doesn't hang out with us.
Yeah, it doesn't hang out with us. We get rid of it as quickly as we can because we know now from experience that the longer we hang on to it, the more it's going to hold us down and keep us.
It multiplies, it increases.
Yeah, keep us from moving forward.
So it takes us to our next step, which is called brainstorming. And fortunately for us, Casper and I are pretty good at talking and brainstorming ideas. I mean, because we have to do it for our business and our ministry.
Right.
So, and we're both pretty much visual people. So it was kind of easy for us to, once we get to this part, to brainstorm, which is basically we're each throwing out ideas that we feel could possibly solve this one issue.
Yeah. And I think there's different levels of brainstorming in this regard, because right now we're talking about brainstorming to solve a actual problem, like in your relationship. Whereas a lot of times with us, we're actually brainstorming on the creative side. So there's a creative side of brainstorming to where you're putting a program together, like the app, right? We're brainstorming on how it's supposed to look and function and things like that. But this particular brainstorming we're talking about is solving a problem. So if it's, I'm just going to pick a topic like laundry, right? Okay. Who's going to do the laundry, right? So you talk about it. Who's going to do it? Well, who has more time to do it? When can it be done? Or maybe it's a joint effort, or maybe it's, so you come up with the different ideas, and you can even use a whiteboard for this, right? Just put all the ideas on the whiteboard to try to brainstorm or talk through that problem or issue.
Right. So you're going to do your brainstorming, and this will encourage creativity.
Yeah.
And it could lead to some maybe innovative solutions, depending on how in depth the problem is that you're trying to solve. So you want to take your time, and there's some things that I just want people to be mindful of when you're working out your problem, a problem, or you're brainstorming. Be open-minded.
Yes. No criticism or evaluating that idea.
Yes.
And it reminds me a lot of the show that you watch a lot of times, the House Hunters or whatever. And they intentionally pick two people that have totally different tastes on, she wants contemporary, he wants rustic, whatever, right? But then they have to have ideas about what they want, and then they have to come together at the end of the show, which is
narrow it down and make a
decision. Right? So, and then the odds of both of them getting what they want is about slim and none.
Well, yeah, because you have to understand that collaboration, compromise, and the fact that everyone's not going to get 100% of what they want.
Right.
It's a very strong possibility.
Yeah.
And you have to be willing to say, all right, maybe I didn't get the 4,600 square feet I wanted in the house, but I got 3,000 square feet.
Right.
We work with it.
And so again, don't be critical of the idea.
Right.
Put it up on a board, discuss it in a calm fashion, and decide which way. And again, once you come up with the idea, then you try it. Right. If it doesn't work, you can always
readjust.
In fact, that's part of problem solving is to try something, agree on the solution, try it, If it doesn't work, then reevaluate.
That's right. And like I said, be open minded
Mm-hmm.
and try to see it from the other person's perspective.
Yeah.
Okay. So then the next one is agreement and collaboration, which we've kind of touched on a little bit. But
Mm-hmm.
once we have a list of potential solutions, we need to pick one that we are both willing to try. Gasper just pretty much said that. You're going to have to try them. Don't be afraid to try.
Right.
See if it's going to work.
You got to try it. So talk out the ideas you came up with. All right. So you discuss them, and then try out different combinations.
Right.
Try it out. Okay. So when it comes to laundry, well, I'll try to do it. We'll see how it goes. Right. And I'll do it on Mondays.
Okay.
And then we try it, and if it works out, then you got the right choice. But also, things change in your life, right?
Yes. So be flexible.
Be
so
flexible.
if something happens on Monday, it's like just being transparent. In our situation, I'm still working a 9 to 5. So Casper's retired. So he's home. So on Mondays, he pretty much he decided years ago that he would do the laundry, and I did not fight him on it. But he does the laundry on Mondays. But if he's busy on Monday and doesn't get it all done, when I come home, I help.
Right.
Or if I know in advance that he's going to have a busy Monday, then I might start doing a load or two on Saturday, so that on Monday it's not that heavy for him.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to take a quick break again, and we'll be right back in just a moment. All right, we're back with I Am Love Builder Show, Casper and Cheryl, and we are talking about the art of problem solving. And we talked about the issues that could arise, but what you also have to think about is the alignment. Because when the alignment's right, for me, I feel that it's easier to problem solve when you're in alignment. And I'm not talking about the wife being, in alignment with the husband. So whatever the husband says goes. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the biblical alignment. So when both of you are in alignment with God and Christ, then problem solving gets easier.
Yes.
Because the solutions are biblically based solutions.
Right. And not only that, but depends on how intense the problem is. You might need a time of prayer and fasting.
Right.
Depends on what the issue really is. If it's something really major, I mean, right now for conversation's sake, we're choosing light topics, but it could be something really deep, and you might have to have a time of prayer and fasting.
Yeah, I know anytime we are planning on making a big decision of any type, we almost automatically now go into prayer and fasting mode for those decisions, trying to hear from God to make sure we're on the right path, because we could easily get distracted or get the shiny object and say, oh yeah, that's shiny, let me go for that
squirrel.
And then find out that's not
it wasn't it, and it was out of alignment with what the Lord had planned for you.
Yeah.
He had something far better.
Yeah. So here's another image I wanted to show you, to kind of another graphical image of what a healthy, aligned marriage or relationship looks like. And it's not about me.
And you're just hanging out in my
world, and it's not about us being separate.
You got yours, I got mine, and hey.
Right. That's not what it's about. It's about us. It's about us being in this together. And equally together. Right? Equally yoked and all the other stuff. So that's another graphic representation of what we're talking about. And it helps in the problem solving mode when you are working on us. You're looking at the big picture. It's us. So how do we make us work?
Yes.
Right. How do we make us flow so that we're not continuously arguing or on different pages? I heard a couple say, we're just not on the same page.
It's like, okay, well, why are you not on the same? And you know what I have found with couples who say we're not on the same page, it has a lot to do with selfishness.
Right. Yeah. They're not on the God. I'll tell you what page they're not on is the God page.
Correct. And they each want their own, and they
Mhm.
want the other person to drop their ideas and totally go with theirs,
Yeah.
and vice versa. And that's when you say we're not on the same page.
Mhm.
Okay, well, then go to a brand new page,
Mhm.
a blank one,
Right.
and start from scratch and say, okay, prayer and fasting, Lord, what do you say? What is your answer? What are your
Right.
solution? Holy Spirit, give us some wisdom and some ideas,
Right.
and start with what he says first.
Right.
But you have to let go of your
The
selfishness.
selfish nature.
Yeah, you have to let it go.
Yeah.
That is a big one in any relationship when one or both people are selfish. Each want their own way.
Correct.
Each want to be, I'm right, you're wrong. That type of stance. And that's not healthy.
No, it's not healthy. In fact, let me show you a not healthy slide. Not healthy image. Well, so we as Christians are very skilled at being have our Christianity compartmentalized.
Mhm.
I call it compartmentalized faith, to where we may be a Christian at work, but not at home, or Christian with our friends, but not in the world. I mean, we just have it in these little segments. You know, we go to church and everybody's all smiles and hugs and everything else. And then you're,
It's not reality.
well, no, because you're cussing your spouse out on the way home. It's like,
or even before
whoa,
you get to
even
church,
before you get to the car,
or yelling at the kids and
Yeah.
kicking the dog.
Yes. How is that? That's not in alignment with the
No.
word, right? So we are very good at that, unfortunately. So we need to take a really hard look at how we treat our spouse first and
Absolutely.
foremost,
Right.
Ministry starts at home first.
Yes.
Get your home life together,
Mhm.
and then you can start ministering to the world.
Yes.
And you should be Christian in all of those areas, not
Mhm.
just in one or two, or I get this 3 out of 4. No, that's no. All of those areas you need to be a Christian in. It needs to be recognizable,
Yes.
right? The world should say, "Man, there's something about Casper, something about Cheryl. They just really, seem different or whatever." And it's because of your Christianity.
Yeah, and your Christianity is manifested in your love.
Yeah.
In the fruit of the Spirit, your
Right.
love, your patience, kindness, gentleness,
Right.
your forbearance.
Right.
These are the things that show that you are operating under God's umbrella.
Yeah.
And not your own.
Yeah. And more than likely, if you're working, you could be working for a company that is not Christian based, or if the owners are not Christian. Right. They don't have any of their processes that are Christian oriented.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you don't work for Hobby Lobby, for example, or for Chick-fil-A. Right?
And even when you work at those companies, understand human beings work there.
Right.
Human beings just like you.
Just like you.
So there's not going to be perfection.
Right.
But if we all, regardless of our atmosphere of where we're employed, where we work, where we go, where we hang out, if we are manifesting the fruit of the Spirit, then that's a healthy you.
Right.
And I can't necessarily make Casper be healthy, but I can be a healthy me.
Right.
And that will spill over to, people say, you're very patient. How do you do that? So you're really kind. In any situation, you show kindness. How do you do that?
Yeah.
And that's what you want people to see, is that of you, because that's Christ.
Yeah. And I try to practice that on social media, because I talk to a lot of folks that are just very angry, and they just spewing hate and stuff. And I try to come back with love, because that they should know, or they should be able to tell that, man, or
no matter how much I attack you, you don't attack me back. You're different.
Right.
You should be different.
You're
different.
And I've won over a lot of people in person and on social media, just by not attacking them back.
Right.
They come at me with hate, and I come back with love, and not in a way to dig at them and say, no, hey, no, I get it. I see you're angry and whatever, but I love you.
The word of God says that, and you shall know them
By their fruit.
by their fruit,
Yep.
by their love.
Mm-hmm.
And so that definitely should be at home with your spouse.
Yeah.
That's
So-
first and foremost.
So this is what it should look like. Everything that you do should be under
should be in under the cross.
Under the cross. It should be in alignment with the Word, in alignment with the Holy Spirit, and so forth. So family, friends, work, the world, no matter where you're at, you should be in alignment with the Word, so that people should know that you're a Christian.
Right.
Right. And even when the time is tough, they should also know that as well.
So
yeah, we're gonna just hold that.
We got another break?
Yeah.
All right.
We're gonna take a quick break here, and as soon as I find the right slide, and we're going to get back into the discussion of problem solving. Let's see. Let's do that one. All right, we're back with IAM Love Builder Show, Casper and Cheryl. You know, this show is actually picked up on several networks. So we have the A2 Media Network, and there's several TV channels amongst that group. And then we also have the JVBN network as well. So we're excited to have those folks on board.
So welcome, everyone.
Yes.
So let me just go. I want to just do a little recap.
Okay.
So problem solving. The first one is discussion. You need to first identify what the problem is.
Right.
Because you have to choose one. I know you might have a list of 22, but pick one. We can only solve one at a time.
Right.
So you pick the one problem. You want to pick a calm, quiet time to discuss it. If you both agree on Saturday at 2:00, from 2 to 3, we're going to work through this. You pick the one and only one. And then you begin to talk about it. If you have issues getting started in talking about it, you can use our communication technique to help you work through how to talk. If that's an issue, then you come up with the agenda. And the agenda, this is where we're setting, where you set the agenda is when we establish what goal of our discussion, what that goal is, and how we're going to come by achieving it. Okay. By the end of our 1 hour, we have achieved this goal.
Right.
The next one is brainstorming. Brainstorming is where you're open-minded,
yes,
patient, and you allow the other person to share their thoughts and their ideas.
Right.
You're not critical. You're not nitpicking. You're not being mean and ugly. You are simply listening. You share your thoughts. I think red would be a really nice color.
Yes.
And it's, well, I'm not that fond of red. Doesn't look good with my complexion. But what do you think about blue? I mean, it's that type of conversation here. It's not red. That's stupid. You know, you don't do that. That's not how you talk to anyone, and definitely how you not talk to your partner, your spouse.
Right.
So you're throwing out ideas. You're being open-minded. You're listening and stepping to each one's perspective. And then you go from there and you go to agreement and collaboration. And agreement and collaboration is once we have a list of potential solutions, we need to pick one that we're willing to try.
Right.
Now, when it comes to that, you could have one and I could have one.
Right.
And maybe I like part of what you said, and you might like part of what I said. So then we will see if we can meld them together.
Right.
We don't have to make a stance that it has to be my way. So either A will say, okay, honey, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. So why don't we try yours for 30 days and see how it works?
Right.
Let's set a date, and in 30 days we'll reevaluate it, and then maybe we'll try mines for 30 days.
That's right.
Or maybe we'll like, I like part of what you had to say, and I kind of like my part. Why don't we see if we can meld them together
Mm-hmm.
and try it for 30 days and see how it works?
Yeah, and that happens with us a lot. But
Mhm.
again, with us, we're talking about building things, So I'll bring an idea to you, and you'll say, "Oh, okay, I see that." But how about you turn that like that? So that's a good idea,
Well,
right?
we do have those conversations with finances,
Mhm.
because we'll say, you might say, I want to pay off these three first.
Mhm.
And I might say, I don't know. Maybe we need to pay off these two first.
Yeah.
So we do work with that.
Mhm.
It just depends on what the topic is, but we kind of do it in pretty much in all areas
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
now. I
Mhm.
mean, we've evolved,
Right.
we've grown, we've
Yeah.
matured.
Yeah.
So we kind of follow these steps in everything that we do.
Mm-hmm.
But you want to agree, have agreement and collaboration.
Yes.
Don't be dogmatic, and don't be, it's either my way or the highway type of attitude. That's not what we want to do. And then it may be a perfect solution for either party or neither party. You may come up with something, ask the Holy Spirit for something totally new idea.
Yeah.
And then you go into the last step, which is follow up.
Yes. Yeah. Plan. I call it plan, do, review.
All right.
You plan it, do it, see what happens, and you review it. And if it's not good, you tweak it.
Right.
And you go back into it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to be open to that.
Right.
Don't come in with like, okay, we're going to solve it. And if you don't agree with what I agree with, then I'm walking out.
Yeah. And then if it doesn't work, don't say, told you so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Should have done it my way in the first time.
Yes. Yeah, we don't want to do that either.
No.
So the final step is follow up. It's important to find a time to talk about the solution, see how it's working, critique it, not in a mean, ugly way. Okay, let's say, honey, all right, so it's been 30 days. We did plan B.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how plan B is working.
Yeah.
This is the goal we wanted to reach.
Mm-hmm.
Did plan B get us to that goal? And if it did, great, because you might say, yes, it really worked very well. I do want to tweak it just a little bit. Can we add this?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, yeah, that might work. Let's try it.
Try it. Yeah.
But you got to be willing, people. Please be willing. Quit fussing and fighting over little things or big things. Just find the solution and be open-minded and operate in love.
First and foremost, yeah. If you operate in love, a lot of this, it becomes easier.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be perfect, but it's easier if you operate in love, for sure.
Yeah, follow the fruit of the Spirit.
Right.
You might need to get the Bible out and read that first.
Yeah, that big book that you flip through.
Just on the coffee table.
In
the drawer, in the nightstand. Yeah, you pull it out and look at it. Yeah.
That book.
So you want to work through each one of your look at what you chose to go with, and then evaluate it, see how it worked. If it didn't, feel free to tweak it. If it didn't work at all, scratch it and try another solution.
Yeah.
But be intentional about finding a solution. Be patient, be gentle, be kind, have long suffering, and show love.
Yeah, and I think also don't look at it like a domino effect. In other words, you think, well, I would try to fix this, but then they're going to do this. Don't try to project down the road that there's going to be a problem with this because you fixed it. Just get that one fixed.
Right.
Go to the next one, get that one taken care of, and go to the next one, get that one taken care of.
And I think the really big thing is staying focused on one thing, and because it's easily to get distracted, and then you're on all these little tributaries, and you have not solved the big one. You haven't even identified the big one. You're all over the board. You got 26 things you're trying to solve in an hour. That's just not going to happen.
Right. Yeah. So when we get back, once we close out on this, I want to talk about taking the time out, because we kind of didn't touch on that. If you think about it, You have the issue, right? You
Mhm.
kind of blow up, but you got to take a time out, come back with the communication tool, and you start getting the problem solving using the tool. So we're
Okay.
going to want to line it up.
All right.
All right, we're going to take another quick break, and we'll be right back. All right, we're back with I Am Love Builder Show with Casper and Cheryl. We're talking about the art of problem solving. But what I want to do is I want to line this up for you because we've been talking about problem solving mainly for this show. In the past shows, we talked about the communication tool. One thing we really haven't touched on is taking a timeout.
Right.
Because at the beginning of the issue or challenge, whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
The fight starts because of something small normally, and then it starts to escalate, and next thing you know, one person's moving out or one person's sleeping in a different room.
Hurt feelings,
all that stuff,
mm-hmm.
right? So in that situation, what you want to do is you want to realize that this is escalating beyond where it needs to, and you want to do what's called take a timeout.
Right.
And the timeout is actually in our book on chapter 22. The successful rules. There's rules for taking a timeout. And I don't know if I want to read through this because we don't have any bullet points.
But the first thing is, when it comes to taking a timeout,
mm-hmm.
you establish a time to come back to finish the discussion.
Right.
A timeout should not be 6 months,
no,
a year, or the divorce is the timeout.
Right.
That's not a timeout.
And that's what happens. It goes under the rug. We talked about that. Those issues go under the rug. The reason why they're under the rug is because you didn't have a timeout to come back to
mm-hmm.
it. You didn't set a specific time.
Mm-hmm.
So our rule of thumb is no more than, what do we say, 24
hours?
No more than 24 hours. So if you have an issue, it blows up or whatever, you say, you know what, let's just come back to this on Saturday or whatever. But no more than 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Then when you come back with this communication tool. So you can identify the problem. Like we talked about before, you get into this problem discussion thing, right? Start talking about the problem. Then from there, this when you start to break down like we did with all the different solutions,
mm-hmm.
right, on how to walk through and solve their problem. And sometimes you may have to use a communication tool to do it,
right,
because you still have these
mm-hmm.
These feelings of not so much anger, but just
let me back up, because let me tell you what a timeout is not.
Okay.
A timeout is not festering,
right,
and getting your thoughts and your words together so that you can really blast him or her
mm-hmm.
when you come back.
Right.
That's not a timeout.
Right.
A timeout means you get a clear head so you can have a clear perspective. Mm-hmm. And for those of us who are kingdom believers, that might mean you go spend your next 3 to 4 hours praying.
Right. Right.
You might start praying in the spirit, mm-hmm. reading scriptures about love, mm-hmm. about patience. You need to get your mind right.
Right.
Not focus on getting him or her right or the other person. You.
Yeah.
You.
Get your
so a timeout is you getting yourself in the right frame of mind, in a clear head where you're not stressed or you're relaxed and you're thinking clearly. And it might even mean, like for me, I go to the Lord, I pray, I get pencil and paper out, and I say, okay, Holy Spirit, what is it about this I'm not seeing?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Help me open my eyes so I can see it from his perspective.
Right.
I focus it all on me. I'm not praying, Holy Spirit, fix him, because he is tripping. That's not it. But when I take my time out, I'm working on me.
We all should be working on ourselves during that timeout. That's
mm-hmm.
a self-reflecting time.
Mm-hmm.
Timeout is for you to get your stuff together and calm down. And then you come back to the discussion with the communication tool, because mm-hmm. that also removes you from from the fight, if you will. All you're doing is paraphrasing back and forth with the person.
Yes.
So they said, the other day when you were angry at me because I didn't do the laundry, I felt like you didn't care about our marriage or something.
Yes. And I also want to hit the timeouts. Could be taking a hot bath, taking a shower, going for a run, getting on the treadmill, listen to some calm, soothing music.
Yeah.
Those are type of things you're going to do to relax and calm down.
Right. And then you come back with the communication tool, and then that's when you start getting into the problem solving.
Right. All right.
Very good.
Did we hit it all?
We hit some of it, but we still have 4 minutes left.
We got 4 minutes. Okay. So when you're taking your time out, as we said, you want to make sure that you're working on you in that time out. You're not trying to fix him or her. You.
Right.
Trying to make sure your heart's right. You're calming down your blood pressure. You're not still angry and ticked off because you want it to go your way. That you got to release that.
You got to let that go.
You got to let that go. Because it's not all about you.
Yeah, in fact, I think the 4 C's could help you in that area. If I can find the chapter real quick, the 4 C's can help. And those 4 C's, the first C is Christ. So we say this all the time throughout the show. We're Christians, so we should have as any starting point to any discussion with our spouse. We should be looking at them as a child of God, and we should be looking at them through the alignment, and it should be a Christ-centered discussion.
That's absolutely correct.
Right? So that's the first C, which is Christ. The next C is control, and that's not controlling the situation.
And nor is it controlling the other person.
No, it's not.
It's control you. Self-control.
Yeah. Exercise self-control. You don't blow up at your coworker because you could get fired.
Yes.
Right. You don't go off on your manager or your supervisor because it's the same reason.
And if you do have an anger that causes you, it's still all about you. So you have to ask, what is the root cause of me being so angry?
Yeah.
Why?
Why am I?
What is my trigger? What is going on in me and with me?
Yeah. And we know the enemy is
don't give him any play.
Masterful at knowing exactly what button to push, or to push your spouse to push the button to cause you to get angry. So don't give
into that.
Don't give the enemy.
Don't give into anger at all. Anger does not help the situation. No. It only hurts. No. So deal with anger.
Yeah.
If you need counseling, healing, deliverance, get it.
Yeah. And then the other C is communication, which we talked about.
The communication tool.
How
to speak it, how to talk it out.
Yeah.
Yes.
How to get all that talked out for sure. Absolutely. And then and even using the I statements when it comes to communication. So
always it's I. It's not you never, you always, you. No, it's I felt this way when you said this.
Right. Using those I statements. And then active listening. You want to make sure you're listening to what your spouse is saying.
And not coming up with your rebuttal.
And learn the tips to fight fair. And fighting fair is basically using these problem-solving tools so you're not fighting physical or
being very nasty verbally.
Yeah, verbally abusive. You're actually fighting fair. All right. And the last one is compromise or collaboration, which we already covered. All right. So we hope these problem-solving, the art of problem-solving, we hope this episode helped you.
Yes.
I want to share something quickly with you before we leave. And that is, there's a free MVP app for that. You can go to our website right now and get our ebook and take the love assessment. All you have to do is go to IAM Love Builders and sign up for the app. It's through the Passion.io platform. It's free. So you can get started right now. And there's videos up there already for training purposes. Plus, you get access to our live bi-weekly training that we do. And, at the end of the day,
if you're not having fun, you're not doing it right.
So we will see you guys on the next show. Bye for now.
Bye bye.